Have you ever stared at your dog for a long time and suddenly laughed, realizing you had no idea what they were thinking? That unexpected jump the moment you open the door. That wet little lick on your foot while you're trying to relax. Or the way your dog stretches every time you come home, as if they're smiling with their whole body. Or maybe it's them rolling in the grass, face glowing with pure contentment. These behaviors, whether funny, strange, or sometimes a little too much, actually carry so many messages that your dog is trying to communicate to you. And among all of them, there's one behavior that stands out most. A gesture that seems random, silent, uneventful, but if you've ever witnessed it, you'll understand. Dogs don't need words to show love. They just need to stretch. You might think it's just a casual yawn, a simple after-nap habit. But no, that stretch is a greeting. A silent message filled with emotion that few truly recognize. I'm happy to see you. In today's video, we're going to explore the deeper meaning behind that simple stretch, because sometimes that one little movement is all it takes for your dog to show you just how much you mean to them. And if you've ever seen that moment before, stay with me until the end. Because you might come to see it through a completely different heart. Let's start with a behavior you've probably seen countless times, but may have never fully understood. You walk through the door, barely have time to set your bag down, and your dog leaps onto you, front paws pressed against your chest, tail wagging like crazy. To them, this isn't bad manners. It's their way of expressing overwhelming joy and longing. Dogs aren't taught to shake hands like humans. They show affection by jumping up to get closer to your face. That's where your scent and emotional signals are strongest. This behavior actually stems from puppyhood, when they used to jump up to lick their mother's face for food. And now, you are that mother figure they've been waiting for all day. If this behavior bothers you, especially when guests come over, try turning away, staying silent, and only giving attention once they're calm. With consistency, your dog can learn to show love without knocking anyone over. Have you ever experienced this kind of welcome? Does it make you laugh or stress you out a bit? Share your story below. Sometimes, even the smallest gestures carry the deepest emotions. And if you think jumping is their most extra behavior, just wait until you catch your dog spinning in circles, chasing its own tail, a sight that makes many people laugh. But behind this seemingly silly game lies something deeper. For puppies, it's harmless fun. Their tail looks like a moving toy, and the chase brings excitement. But in adult dogs, especially those lacking physical or mental stimulation, this could signal boredom, stress, or even anxiety. Dogs don't have social media to scroll or movies to watch. If their energy isn't released, they invent ways to self-soothe. That's why it's so important to give your dog regular walks, playtime, and mentally engaging toys. When was the last time you saw your dog chasing its tail? Was it just for fun? Or was it a cry for balance no one noticed? If that's not strange enough, imagine your dog suddenly racing around the house like a whirlwind, right after a bath, a vet visit, or sometimes for no reason at all. That's not a glitch. It's a real thing with a scientific name: FRAPs, or frenetic random activity periods, also known, more affectionately, as the Zoomies. Zoomies happen when your dog's energy has been building up for too long and finally explodes in a joyful burst. It might be excitement, pure happiness, or just the relief of finally being free after hours of restraint. If your home has space, let them run. If not, take them outside or to a park where they can go a little wild without breaking any furniture. Have you ever witnessed your dog's Zoomies? That rocket-speed chaos, followed by sudden calm? Maybe that's what true freedom looks like. Once all that energy is released, some behaviors become quieter and more focused. After a walk, you might notice your dog bowing its head, intensely scratching the ground like an archaeologist on a mission. They're not trying to hide evidence. They're leaving behind a message, like a scented business card. Underneath a dog's paws are special scent glands. When they scratch the ground, they're not only leaving a smell, but also a visual signal. I was here. It's a natural form of communication, not just for male dogs, but females too. So, next time you see your dog scratching the ground after doing their business, don't stop them. Observe. You might be watching them write a silent message into the earth. And if you've ever wondered why your yard has bare patches, well, mystery solved. Now, from the ground, let's move to your feet. Specifically, those moments when you suddenly feel a cold, wet, and very persistent little tongue. Many people find foot licking odd, even unpleasant. But to dogs, it's one of the richest and most emotional ways to connect. Dogs have a special organ called Jacobson's organ, allowing them to taste smells in a way humans can't imagine. And your feet, covered in sweat glands, hormones, and pheromones, they're a sensory wonderland. Beyond the science, licking feet can be a sign of affection, bonding, or simply an attempt to get your attention. Have you ever let your dog lick your feet? Did it make you laugh or squirm? To your dog, it might just be their way of gently asking, "Are you okay today?" But if licking is a way to connect softly, there's another behavior that often shocks dog owners: eating poop. It sounds gross, but it's not that rare. And it even has a scientific name: Coprophagia. Back when they were pups, mother dogs often ate their puppies' poop to keep the den clean. The puppies watched and learned. For some, the behavior sticks, especially in stressful environments, when bored, or if their diet lacks key nutrients. Sometimes, it's just a cry for attention. Think about it. You react strongly every time they do it, and they remember. The best solution is to keep the living area clean, provide enough stimulation, and ask your vet for help if needed. And if you've ever caught your dog mid-act and shouted in horror, you're not alone. What did you do in that moment? Do you think it was emotional, or a sign of something missing? On the opposite end of that unsettling image, some moments simply melt your heart. Like when your dog lies on their back, legs stretched out, belly completely exposed. What looks like a funny sleep pose is actually a powerful message. I feel completely safe here. The belly and neck are a dog's most vulnerable areas. They only expose them when they're totally relaxed and unafraid of their surroundings. For some dogs, it also helps them cool down. The hairless skin lets heat escape more easily on hot days. Next time you see your dog sleeping like this, don't just smile and walk away. Sit beside them, gently rub their chest, or simply be present. That's how you return the same wordless trust, with a soft, quiet, "I'm here too." When was the last time your dog slept belly up? And what did you do when you saw it? From peaceful sleep, we step into the sunlight, the place where many dogs love to lie down in the yard, eyes half closed, soaking up the warmth. Some people joke, maybe they learned that from cats. But in reality, sunlight offers real benefits for a dog's health. With a body temperature higher than ours, sunbathing helps dogs feel more comfortable, relax their muscles, and is especially helpful for older dogs dealing with joint issues. Sunlight also increases the production of melatonin, a hormone that supports better sleep and emotional balance. However, sun exposure must be monitored. If you notice your dog panting heavily lying too long, or showing signs of exhaustion, it's time to bring them into the shade. Have you ever noticed your dog choosing a sunny spot every morning? Maybe it's not just about warmth, but about the safety they feel under that golden light. From the sun, we return to a different kind of gaze. The moment your dog stares at you while you're doing something very private. Going to the bathroom. Many people find this behavior odd or even uncomfortable. But the truth is, it's their way of asking for protection. In nature, going to the bathroom is one of the most vulnerable moments for any animal. And even though dogs now live in our homes, that instinct hasn't faded. When they look at you, they're not being nosy. They're silently saying, "Please, keep watch for me." Just like in a wild pack, when one member is vulnerable, the others keep guard. You don't need to overreact. Sometimes, simply standing nearby or making soft eye contact is enough to make your dog feel safe. Have you ever locked eyes with your dog in that moment? And now that you know the reason, does it still feel weird? From that meaningful stare comes one of the sweetest emotional behaviors your dog can show. Curling up against you while they sleep. Pressing their back into your legs. Breathing softly. Maybe letting out a tiny dreamlike whimper. It's not because there's nowhere else to lie down. It's because you are the safest place in their world. Since they were puppies, dogs have curled up beside their mothers and siblings to feel heartbeat, warmth, and life. As they grow up, they replace their mother with you, the person who shows up every day, feeds them, plays with them, comforts them. Sleeping close is their deepest expression of trust, love, and connection. If it feels a little crowded, you can gently shift position, but don't push them away harshly. For them, this is the most intimate moment of the day. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and felt that warm little body pressed against you? And smiled in the dark, knowing there's a small soul trusting you with their whole life? But dogs don't always sleep curled up against you. Sometimes you'll see them trembling, ears flat, eyes wide with panic at the sound of thunder, fireworks, or even just a vacuum cleaner. To us, it's just noise, but to a dog, with hearing many times more sensitive than ours, it's a storm. Reactions like shaking, hiding under furniture, or curling into a corner are survival instincts. Sudden, loud sounds trigger the dog's sympathetic nervous system. Heart racing, rapid breathing, muscles tensing. Trying to force your dog to get used to it doesn't work, and can actually make things worse. Watch for these signs. Don't yell or force them to face it. Sometimes, a gentle cuddle, a quiet room, or just your calm presence can help soothe their panic. When loud noises strike, where does your dog go? And what have you done that helped them feel safer? After fear passes, you might notice another behavior that seems harmless. Your dog shaking their head repeatedly, as if trying to fling something out of their ears. A few shakes are fine, but if it happens often, it could mean something's wrong, like an ear infection, a foreign object, or an allergy. Dog ears are extremely sensitive. Moisture from baths, dirt, or built-up wax can cause itching or pain. Shaking is their way of relieving that discomfort. But don't use human eardrops. Dog ears are delicate. If you notice a strange smell, redness, swelling, or constant scratching, take them to the vet. Have you seen this behavior before? Was it just a simple shake, or a silent signal that something didn't feel right? Sometimes dog behavior turns surprisingly funny, like when they steal objects and hide them in the strangest places. Under pillows, behind the sofa, or deep in the laundry basket. No, they're not being naughty. This is a leftover instinct from their wild ancestors, who had to hide food or treasures to keep them safe from rivals. Today, Survival isn't the issue, but the behavior remains. Only now, their treasures might be your slippers, a toy, or anything that smells. Like you, keeping your scent close helps them feel secure, especially when you're not home. Has your dog ever hidden something weird? Maybe that missing sock turned up under the bed after all. And sometimes, nothing gets stolen, but you hear it. A soft little whine when your dog is left alone. Not loud, not desperate, but enough to tug at your heart. That's loneliness speaking. A quiet ache from being separated from the one they love. Dogs are pack animals. Being away from their person can trigger separation anxiety. Whining is their way of maintaining a connection, hoping you'll return soon. If left unaddressed, this can turn into more intense behavior, scratching doors, non-stop barking, or destructive chewing. Not because they're bad, but because they don't know how else to handle their fear. Start with short separations. Give them chew toys, leave soft background sounds, or a worn shirt with your scent to comfort them. Have you ever heard that tiny whine? And did it change you? Just knowing that someone was waiting for you every single second you were gone? And then, on a beautiful day, you take your dog to the park and witness something that makes you both confused and laugh out loud. They roll around in the grass, rub their back on the ground, or, worse, roll right onto a decaying animal carcass. Your first reaction might be, "Oh my God, that's disgusting." But to your dog, this is an instinctive behavior rooted deeply in their wild past. Rolling in strong smells was a way to mask their own scent, helping them sneak up on prey more effectively. Today, they no longer need to hunt, but that instinct remains, as a way of expressing freedom and control over their environment. Have you ever screamed in disbelief after your dog rolled in something awful? Next time, instead of getting angry, try to look at them with a bit of compassion. At the very least, you'll know they're just living in tune with who they really are. And that's exactly why we can't judge any dog behavior at surface level. Every lick, roll, snuggle, or even headshake is part of a rich emotional language your dog uses to communicate with you. If any of these behaviors feel familiar, leave a comment below. Share the moment that made you laugh, cry, or just left you speechless. And if you want to understand even more about how your dog truly expresses their love for you, don't miss the next video. You might discover that your dog's love runs far deeper than you ever imagined.